Prom, the most anticipated moment of any high schooler's life, could also be the last night you ever feel safe. The laughter, the sparkling lights, the awkward confessions, they're only the surface. Because beneath the glamorous dresses and forced smiles lies a darkness no one ever expects. In today's video, you'll hear 3 true terrifying stories about prom nights that nearly turned into tragedy. A stalker who wouldn't let go, a dress that never existed, and a classmate with an axe emerging from the woods. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and remember, the most beautiful night could also be the most terrifying. Story 1. The note on the glass door. I had just finished my senior year. Prom was approaching, but instead of excitement, I felt anxious. Things weren't as simple as you might think. I had an ex, Daryl. He was 4 years older, a former soldier discharged for mental health reasons. He spiraled into heroin addiction and became someone else. Unstable, paranoid, dangerous. For over a year, I lived like I was haunted. Daryl kept trying to reach me, sending letters, texting from random numbers, even trying to break into my house 3 times. Eventually, I got a restraining order. My family moved. I changed my number, my social media, everything. I thought I was finally safe. Time passed, and I started dating Mark, someone calm and kind who made me feel safe. As prom approached, Mark suggested we go with our group of friends. I turned him down several times, until he said, if I thought there was any real danger, I wouldn't let you go. The certainty in his voice made me say yes. We arrived in a limousine. From the outside, it was a perfect night, but I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me. While I was in the restroom, I found a note shoved under the stall door. Just one shaky line, niece dress. I froze. No one knew what I was wearing except Mark and my best friend. I told him, but he reassured me, said it might just be a prank. After prom, we went to a small after-party at a friend's house. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling. Stepping onto the balcony, I spotted a figure standing beneath a tree across the street. Still, in the dark. I stared, and he vanished. Around 2 a.m., Mark and I went back to his place. His bedroom and living area were downstairs. It was a warm night, and a few windows were slightly open. We were watching a movie when a loud noise came from the glass door leading to the backyard. Mark jumped up and pulled the curtain. No one. Just a post-it note stuck firmly to the glass, fluttering slightly in the breeze. It read, "Found you." I went cold. I didn't need a name to know who wrote it. Mark called his mom, then the police. Every minute felt like an hour. When his dad, a retired cop, arrived, I told him everything about Daryl, the restraining order, the move. But no one knew how he'd found me. The police took the note and advised us to stay inside that night. The next day, Mark's family installed cameras around the house. 3 nights later, around 3 a.m., an alert went off on Mark's dad's phone. The side camera had detected movement. He grabbed his gun and went outside. The smell of gasoline was thick in the air. And then, he saw him, Daryl, pouring gas around the house. When confronted, Daryl stood still for a few seconds, then set the can down, raised his hands, and gave a quiet, eerie smile. He was arrested on the spot. In his pocket, they found an old photo of me, from 10th grade, and a hand-drawn map connecting my old and new addresses with scribbled directions. Daryl was sentenced to over 30 years in prison. The most serious charge, attempted arson of a police officer's home. But I know, if Mark's dad hadn't woken up that night, I might not be here to tell this story. Story 2. The dress that didn't exist. I was 17, getting ready for my very first prom. While my friends were talking about custom dresses worth hundreds of dollars, my mom and I searched Craigslist for something used but nice. After hours of scrolling through outdated styles, we found a navy blue dress. Simple, elegant, only $50. The description read, "Worn once for prom." I messaged the listed number. The person replied as Alex. The texts were gentle, like from a young woman. I didn't suspect a thing. When I asked if I could see the dress that day, Alex agreed, even offered to deliver it. My mom refused immediately. No strangers coming here. Instead, she drove me to the address Alex gave. It was a townhouse at the end of a cul-de-sac among quiet, slightly worn homes. When we arrived, I told my mom to wait in the car. "If anything's weird, I'll text," I said with a smile to reassure her, though I felt a bit uneasy. All the windows were covered, even in broad daylight. I knocked. After a few seconds, a man, about 50, bald, sunken eyes, pale skin, opened the door. "You're here for the dress, right? I'm Alex." He smiled slightly. "You look just like my daughter did when she was your age." I stood at the threshold, peeking into a dark living room. He gestured inside. "Come in. It's in the bedroom. There's a mirror for you to try it on." I replied gently. "Could you bring it out here instead?" "There's no mirror in the living room," he said, then disappeared into the back. I quietly pulled out my phone and texted my mom. "Come to the door. Now." I heard her footsteps down the hall. Just then, the man returned, empty-handed. "It's on the bed. Go take a look." My mom stepped inside, greeted him, eyes scanning the room. The man took a few seconds to respond to her, then turned back to me. I walked toward the open bedroom door, unlit, slightly ajar. Inside, there was no dress, just a headless mannequin in the corner wearing nothing. And on the floor, a length of fabric rope coiled neatly like it had been prepared. I turned and said coldly, "There's no dress." Silence. Then a dry chuckle. "I think you two should leave." We walked straight out. The door slammed behind us. Back in the car, I glanced at the window and saw him pulling the curtain aside, staring. My mom gripped my hand. I said nothing. I reported the post to Craigslist, but there wasn't enough for police to act. The listing disappeared the next day. No phone number, no trace, just those eyes, and that lifeless mannequin standing in the dark. Story 3. The Man in the Tuxedo. Joshua transferred to our school in 9th grade. He wasn't weird or mean, just the quiet type who always sat alone. He tried to fit in, but it never quite worked. I didn't think badly of him, until one lunch break a few days before prom. I was sitting with my girlfriend Natalie and our usual group when Joshua walked up and stood behind her. Everything went silent. He asked, "Will you go to prom with me?" There was a small, awkward laugh. Natalie blushed. "Sorry, I already said yes to someone." Joshua looked at me. His eyes were cold, not angry, not hurt, just empty. He turned and walked away. Didn't come back to the cafeteria that day. Prom night came. Everything was going fine, until a friend whispered, "Don't look now, but Joshua's staring at you." I turned, caught that same empty gaze, the same from that day. I started to approach, but he got up and walked out of the venue. After prom, we headed to a friend's house. It had a big yard bordering the woods with a bonfire and quiet music playing. Then, a noise from the trees. A figure in a tuxedo stepped out of the shadows. Lit by firelight, it was Joshua. In his hand, a small axe. "Don't get up," he said. His voice cracked, but was full of anger. He began talking about the humiliation, the judging looks in the cafeteria, how he thought everyone talked about him behind his back. Every time someone tried to speak, he shouted, "Shut up." The axe trembled in his grip. When he turned to Natalie, saying she pretended to be kind, then mocked him. I saw my friend Anthony secretly texting, "Bring the gun out back." A few minutes later, the door burst open. Anthony's dad stepped out, gun in hand. "What's going on here?" Joshua froze, lowered the axe, and let it fall, then ran back into the woods. The axe was taken by the police. His fingerprints matched. Joshua was charged with making threats and intent to harm. I never saw him again after that night, but I'll never forget the way he stepped out of that dark forest, like a ghost born from pain. Each of tonight's stories is a warning. Not every look is harmless. Not every invitation comes from goodwill. And not everyone in a tux came to dance. If you've experienced something truly chilling, don't hesitate to share it in the comments. Who knows? Your story might be the next one told here. Thanks for watching. See you again in the shadows.